Give it to me. Ah! This really means something to me.
What's the last thing you remember? I had a glimpse into the past. You're going to have to do for me what I once did for you. You need me as well. Side by side, you end this war. Before it ever began. So, wake up my young body and then what? Find me. Where do I find you? A different person. A darker person. Robin, I was a very different man. Lead me.
Our final member, Professor Charles Xavier.
This leads into the X-Men conversation that I want to have with you, because we have Beast, and then we got Channing Tatum as Gambit, who we saw in Deadpool and Wolverine, and then we got Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart,
Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler. Crazy.
Rebecca Romijn, who was the first Mystique,
Yeah.
and then even James Marsden is back as Cyclops.
They're all gonna look so old.
And I really want to know what you think about this, because I have thoughts. I have so many thoughts. But first, you go. What do you make of this?
Oh, it's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. I think, and this all is sounding like it's shaping up to be like The Flash. Did you watch The Flash?
Yes, I did.
And there's
Unfortunately.
there's a scene in it where he's like, he's running and he's doing the Speed Force, and we're like, it almost turns into like a massive like portal sort of thing, and we're seeing all these like
and he's seing all
flashes
this
of like
Nicolas
different
Cage is there.
multiverses. And it's just like showing us flashes of like, like original Superman and like all the like Nicolas Cage's version of Superman that never got made. All these things, and I feel like surely this has to be something similar, where it's going to be a little flash or like a 10-minute sequence where we see a lot of these characters, because I don't know how you can have Alan Cumming like playing the version of Nightcrawler that we know when he's like probably like 60 odd years old.
60.
Now.
I mean, it wasn't really jumping on the ceiling in the first X-Men movie either. So
no, but I remember
guess they're
him
gonna have
being
stunt
like,
doubles and CGI.
No, but he was pretty good. Like I remember him being a pretty good sort of interpretation.
It was fantastic. I
Yeah.
love that version of Nightcrawler, and I love Nightcrawler in the comics. So
yeah. I think it's obviously there's more announcements that made are in this same ilk, but it's well, I think when you start cannibalizing your own franchise, when we're already going back into the early 2000s X-Men films with these references, it's like
and we've already done that.
Have trust in the characters and have trust in all the source material you've got, and cast new X-Men and get some new X-Men in this film.
I really need new X-Men. I don't need to see 90 years old Patrick Stewart in a 5 seconds cameo, probably like dying again like he did in Doctor Strange 2. I don't need to see Ian McKellen or Rebecca Romijn or James Marsden. I really want to get away from that 2000 era X-Men. I really want a new take. And I feel like we're just doing this.
The MCU didn't even create that either, and it's referencing all this stuff from so many years ago that they had no involvement in whatsoever.
And we've already say goodbye to these characters so many different times. They had, X-Men 3, X3, I should say, was the final movie in the first trilogy. Then, they kept doing them. And I really liked First Class. I think First Class is probably the best X-Men film. And then we got Days of Future Past, which already kind of did the old cast and the new cast meeting and doing stuff together, and that was really cool. And that was before the multiverse saga. It was before Marvel really hit their stride with the Avengers films. So it was really cool to see.
And it made sense for that franchise to bring back, go into the well and bring back its own old characters.
Yeah.
Whereas
they managed to make it not make sense, unfortunately, with the timeline. But whatever, like that's just a Fox X-Men problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just honestly, I am so sick. I really want to see new X-Men. Last year we got the animated TV show, X-Men 97, and it was fantastic. It's probably the best animated thing that Marvel did. And I really want to see something like that, like a real X-Men movie with the proper costumes. And I don't care about this, rehashed stuff. And I feel like, as you said, it's just going to be, a little cameo just to say, oh, you remember this guy? And I do, but I don't want to see him again. And I'm not like this as a minor character in a huge movie with 1,000 characters. Like, we are not going to get a lot of time with these people. And I don't know. They're probably just going to be, like from the Beast universe that we saw in the Marvels. And they're going to have a little bit of a, conversation with our main Avengers cast.
They'll say something. They'll say something quippy and something meta that takes you completely out of the story, and it's like, yeah, cool. Well, we've referenced X-Men 2 now. Let's move on.
That works in a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, right? I didn't necessarily love that film, but I did enjoy Blade coming back and Elektra.
Those worked. Those worked really well.
Yeah, it's fine because that's the kind of movie.
Yeah, and it perfectly fits the style of like the Deadpool humor. Those cameos.
As we've already kind of established, I'm the hopeless optimist of the duo. So I do want to believe in the Russo brothers and the writers who already made Infinity War and Endgame, which are movies that I love. So I'm pretty sure they have the pulse on what works and what doesn't, and they're gonna try and make something that makes sense. But at the same time, I feel like this is a desperate move from like higher up, where they're like, oh, we need these characters back, we have the rights to them, let's use them so that people are excited about this thing again, which in a way is the same reasoning behind Robert Downey Jr. coming back.
PopCult is the place to go for all things popular culture, films, TV, gaming and entertainment news. You'll find podcast discussions, reviews, video essays and interviews with filmmakers all here on this channel.